What in the world? What is this about, Dan Wetzel?
Well, if you want to know why it's not, you shouldn't take it too serious, is because the three logos of the leagues, there was no corporate sponsor.
Historic Alliance brought to you by for all the Tostitos, baby. For
the Tostitos Alliance, the FedEx Alliance. Like, the fact college sports didn't slap a sponsor on that tells you this is just nothing.
For all the Tostitos, baby.
There he is. There's Brent.
It does not matter. They didn't make a buck on it. There's no signed contract. Now, look, it's it's these leagues trying to say we still matter, which they do, and it's a full pushback on the SEC and saying we're going to align and make sure you don't run us over, and hopefully you don't take any more of our teams. And their number one goal is to make sure that when the bidding for the college football playoff comes out in whether it's 2 years or in 5, unfortunately they delay this thing, that it is not the sole property of ESPN, that ESPN doesn't get to broadcast all of the college football playoff games. They want Fox to be involved. They want someone else to be involved, the way the NFL playoffs are shown on all the networks. And that's because the SEC and ESPN are now exclusively ESPN is the exclusive broadcaster of the SEC. The Big Ten, the Pac-12 particularly, want Fox to be able to profit off the big-time games that the college football playoff will create, and then have that kind of profit to later put back into their contract deal. So that's the number one tangible goal of this, is to hit the brakes on the playoff and make sure instead of it going exclusively to ESPN that you have multiple bidders. Everything else is a little bit nebulous. Possibly the scheduling alliance could be a big deal in like 10 years. But that's the number one first start thing, is don't let ESPN get all the money and then keep giving it all to the SEC.
Because the way this is going, Dan, is creating your own league, creating your own super league, creating your own NCAA, with Mark Emmert basically kneecapped by Brett Kavanaugh at the Supreme Court level, and COVID wiping out so many budgets across collegiate sports that there's a gold rush on trying to find out where you can get the money back and how you can grow your pot, certainly to continue on to, try and operate in the black and pay for Title IX sports and things like nature. I mean, this is what is happening right now. And you're saying that the Big Ten, Pac-12, and ACC totally understand they don't want the SEC picking off more people. But are you saying that they believe that ESPN is like a stalking horse, a television stalking horse, to be a partner for this new NCAA that is being formed in the southeast part of the United States? Is that what you're saying, Dan Wetzel?
Some of the more conspiracy-minded ones might think that or be suspicious of that. They all also do business with ESPN,
sure,
though.
Right.
I think it's more that, look, the money in college sports is obviously in TV. You have, and as big as the NCAA basketball tournament is, this college football playoff will dwarf that in money. But in college football, you only get so many games a year that get the big number, the 10 million plus, the 8 million plus. And like during a normal season, you might have one regular season game get over 10 million viewers, maybe 2. Ohio State, Michigan almost always does. The SEC championship game, when LSU's playing Alabama, or last year there was a Clemson Notre Dame game in South Bend Saturday night. But those games are rare. But when the playoff comes and all of a sudden you have 7 games that will do that kind of number, you've now created, twice as many, or really 3 times as many at that point. If you're counting on 2 or 3 big games, you now have 10. You don't want ESPN having all of that and then being focused on what do we do with the SEC. You have to have Fox have some money, because as these contracts go on, so it's kind of a long play. It's also better for the sport to be on more networks. And the NFL does it right. The NFL doesn't just get bigger ratings in college football. It also gets more dollars per eyeball than than them, and they have all 4 networks fighting against each other to try to promote the sport. They get it all over the place. So to move it around makes a lot of sense. They just don't want ESPN to have so much power over the sport, because if you control the college football playoff, you have almost all of the big-time television events in college sports. We'll see what happens with CBS and the basketball tournament. That's just a secondary kind of side thing. So they want that spread out, and this is a way of saying we're going to pump the brakes. Now, that's disappointing for fans who are like, hey, we got to go through 2 more seasons at 4. Do we now have to go through 5? I mean, it's kind of like you pulled the rug out from under us. But that's the primary goal. And so it's not, I don't think it's fair to say ESPN is just trying to wipe these other guys out, because they need the other teams too. The SEC is a big deal, but it'll never get the national attention, the national rating, unless everyone's involved. We've seen that when it's SEC teams in the championship game, the ratings are lower. You need a Midwest presence or a West Coast presence or something like that to get the bigger areas of the country to tune in.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.